Hey, welcome back to the Big Men on Campus podcast. This is a weekly, purely anecdotal podcast. So, Drew, last time we were on, we proclaimed the show to be weekly.
That's correct.
That was several weeks ago.
That's also correct.
So, I think we should explain to our audience what happened. You see, Drew and I were out in the mines working, selling our labor to the bourgeoisie.
The corrupt businessmen.
Yeah, corrupt businessmen. And Drew and I, well, Drew mostly, accidentally acquired some of the infamous black lung. You can hear it now. Wow. So that kept us out of the studio because we want to deliver the highest quality product to our paying subscribers, if there are any.
And our sponsors at Studio X.
Our sponsors are Studio X, the best place to host a business meeting. I go there every day. They tell me I'm underdressed. I'm in a tuxedo, so I don't really know what to do. I put on a big bow tie. They say, oh, that's really fancy. And I say, yeah, I know. It's a big bow tie. So they let me in. And so, yeah, Studio X, you better not be underdressed.
Thank you. Thank you very much from the Big Men on Campus to Studio X. So today, more guests. Following last month's appearance of Dark Chandler, this week we have two of our very special friends and legendary heroes from around the campus. We have Persona Pokey Pierce. I forgot how the name actually goes.
Pokemon Persona 5.
That's Pierce Anderson. Local Concrete Authority. We'll be getting into that later. And then we have Mary, Spooky Mary, as of recently. And
full name is Meryl.
Oh yeah, Meryl. And she is also with us here today. She is an authority on hot tubs, I believe, from your last project, or...
Oh yeah, solar hot water heaters.
Solar hot water heaters. We'll be getting into all these things later. They're constantly in the news, just like bugs, so...
Bugs. God. I'm trying to learn about politics, but they're just bugs. Anyway, sorry.
So, as always, we have a variety of topics to speak about today, but like we did with Dark Chandler and all future guests going forward, we just want the guests, they get to pick the first topic. They get to talk about whatever they want, and we have to listen and participate, regardless of whether it's about concrete or hot water heating. We'll play along. So, why don't you guys take it away and begin some riveting conversation.
Okay, so for our special topic, surprise topic from the guest, we decided that we would ask the hosts and also give our opinion on the question of what DLC character would you choose for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch? And this can be a serious pick or this can be a meme pick. It is truly up to you. So if one of you would like to begin.
I mean, this is ridiculously easy. The Arbiter, obviously yes. From the Halo series. I think he is one of my favorite characters from any story of all time. He's already in I think it's, what is it, Killer Instinct, that fighting game? Or,
I've heard that, yes.
Yeah, so he can easily be added to fighting games. I think he's better than everyone else, so it might be unfair that way, but I love him. The fans love him, so he should be in Smash.
This seems to be natural transition from the world of Halo into the world of Smash.
I mean, if it works for like Game & Watch and Snake, they can do anything.
Maybe swooping in on a pelican. Yeah. Bringing out the plasma pistol.
Oh, the energy sword. Sword.
Why is he on a pelican?
Oh, I don't know.
He's friends with humans. He's friends with the humans.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, my Halo knowledge is weak.
Understandable.
Any other comments about the Arbiter?
Love the guy. Hopefully you can work out a sponsorship deal with him soon. Look forward to that. That's all I have to say.
Good pick.
Thank you.
I thought that you guys meant like the ones that were in the game currently, and I was like, there's like 3 of them. I don't know which one I'm gonna play as. Very loaded question, but now I get to pick whoever I want. Awesome.
If you need more time to think, we have our picks on lock.
Oh, okay.
We're prepared.
Go ahead.
So my pick for the DLC character is a serious pick, and I would choose the Knight from the game Hollow Knight. Don't know if any of our listeners have played Hollow Knight. Very fantastic indie game by developer Team Cherry. You get to be a small bug boy, so we know that resident bug lover Sean would very much enjoy Hollow Knight from the Knight from Hollow Knight being in Smash. He has a lot of cool move potential. He gets to swing around his little needle sword and has a bunch of magical powers from the void. So I would be very excited to see the knight in Smash, especially being the first main series character that's from an indie title. That would be exciting. So that's my pick.
How big is he in comparison to the other characters?
Well, see, the problem with that is that
Tiny.
he probably is actually on par with the size of resident spaceman Olimar, who is
Tiny.
actually smaller than a bottle cap, canonically, I do believe. So I'm sure that he would just be scaled to fit the size of Smash, much like how many characters are. You know, we have characters like Bayonetta that are supposed to be like 8 feet tall, and then they're scaled down to be reasonable. So I believe the knight could be scaled up in a similar manner.
Gotcha.
Okay, Meryl.
Well, my pick would be Waddle Dee.
Oh, how cute.
Specifically, Bandana Waddle Dee. Yes, this would be my pick. And this is also a serious pick.
He's cute.
Exactly. That's basically the main reason he needs to be the next DLC in Smash.
Who is Waddle Dee? What is that from?
It's from the Kirby game.
Okay.
Waddle Dee is, if I recall correctly, he is one of DDD's many forms of minions.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
it's
loyal.
It's a little circle and they go whoop, whoop, whoop.
Are they the things
As
that
they
carry
walk
him
around.
in? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Got it.
His acolytes, if you will.
Yeah.
His loyal followers carrying him around.
Who can put up a fight.
Bandana Waddle Dee in specific has a spear, so that opens up his move potential a little bit. You know, he probably would have multiple jumps, much like Kirby.
Yeah.
The precedent is there.
All right.
Multiple jumps.
Big man, you got an answer?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
I'm not smart enough to answer this question properly.
Okay. Well, I can chime in on my meme pick if you would like.
Okay.
So my
Excellent.
meme pick, and Mary will be very thrilled to hear this answer. It's one of her favorite games of all time, favorite game characters, Minecraft Steve. So
Yeah.
very,
Oh,
very,
this is your love.
this is very, very important, I think, to the gaming world if Minecraft Steve makes it into Super Smash Brothers. You know, a lot of people have been asking for it. Sought after character. You know, the moveset potential is truly, truly infinite. You know, he's building, he's mining, he's got ender pearls. So this is my very serious meme pick. You know, a lot of people might think it's funny. I think it's serious, but
I don't think it's funny at all.
Mary believes
I
this to
think
be
it's cringy.
probably she believes this is truly the best possible timeline for Super Smash Bros. If Minecraft Steve makes it in.
I would say my meme pick, which is not really a meme, is a character from the Madden franchise.
Oh.
I was thinking perhaps Michael Vick.
Oh, okay,
He might be
yeah.
a good
What?
one.
I was thinking maybe Vince Young, so quarterback would probably be
Aaron Hernandez,
strong.
maybe.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez, very strong.
Former
pick.
serial killer.
He does have a track record of violence. Could fit very, very well into a fighting game.
Oh,
as
OJ.
such. O.J. Simpson.
Good grabs.
Yes, definitely.
Holy crap.
Oh no.
I apologize to our younger fans out there. Don't look that up. Anyways, big man.
Pass?
Still nobody?
I don't know. All my
It's hard.
all my favorite characters are already in Smash.
Aw.
I've been a Yoshi fan since day one, and of course Yoshi's in the game. Let's
Oh,
go
yes.
Yoshi.
Resident Egg Boy Drew is a big Yoshi
I do
fan.
love Yoshi. Maybe they can have another color of Yoshi. They have.
Brand new character slot just to add back the black alternate color
Yes, they
for
should have
Yoshi.
black Yoshi.
I love that. I love that.
Black Yoshi, heinously replaced with woolly Yoshi, almost indistinguishable from normal Yoshi.
That's just like the Industrial Revolution, bringing in the cotton mills, replacing things of value with wool. Not an excellent choice.
Oh,
Very poor
resources.
choice.
Yeah, let me. A fighting game. Better make my character out of wool. That will endure. So you really can't think of it.
Excuse me.
Sorry, the prospector came in.
Black lung.
The black lung there. Also, all your favorite Nintendo characters are in.
I would say so.
Like, is there anyone?
Well,
from,
that's the great thing is that you can reach well beyond Nintendo.
Oh, that's true.
We're 4 for 4 right now on DLC characters being third party.
Uh-huh.
Then I want Just off the top of my head, the guy Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. That would be cool. You if I'm looking really crazy, he's just a huge guy with a gun for a hand. Awesome.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That works.
This is excellent.
So, there's my pick.
He could, with a gun for a hand, I feel that he could reach the level of vicious violence that similar character O.J. Simpson may reach.
No.
One of Turner's picks.
Hey man, the glove didn't fit. Anyways, let's move on to that next topic.
The next topic?
Yeah.
All right. What's in the news today?
In the news today, the Vols won. I don't know.
I mean, that was just a little while ago. That's breaking news. Let's go
Breaking
Vols.
news. They've won.
But they usually suck.
They are.
This is
University of Alabama,
let's
Birmingham.
talk trash. Yeah.
I like the Vols. I'm wearing a Vols jersey as we sit here recording this.
Cricket.
Can confirm. Can confirm.
What are you wearing? Oh, Martha's Vineyard. Are you a big Vineyard fan?
This is like my. It's my frat boy shirt, you know. My grandma got it for me. Nana, as she's colloquially referred to.
Martha?
Yeah, actually, I think that's why she got
Yeah,
it.
Nana Martha
Wait,
actually
really?
owns the vineyard.
No, she's
Drew is
like,
the heir to a dynasty.
No, I think it's like this is one of those shirts. It's like one of those like blah blah's vineyard and hello gentlemen, I'm in the brotherhood. I wear the vineyard shirt. But she got it, I assume, because her name is Martha.
Wait, are you for real? Her name is Martha?
Yeah, she does not have the vineyard though. I think she has like
Oh,
she owns
that's adorable.
she owns cottages. She is a real estate mogul,
Oh,
not a vineyard
okay.
mogul.
A tycoon nonetheless.
Yeah, tycoons.
Money moves.
Have you all seen the movie Batman versus Superman?
Yes, I
Forever.
I
have.
heard it was bad, so
Yeah.
I didn't see it because
Okay.
I'm a minion
Would you-
of internet reviews.
I would rate it a fantastic waste of time.
Yeah, it's a time killer movie for sure. I'm homesick and I can't find the remote, so this is fine. But the reason I mentioned that is there's this one scene. Do you mind me spoiling this? Spoiling a semi-pivotal scene, not the
Okay,
entire arc.
You could explain the whole plot of the movie to me right now. Spoiler alert
Yeah,
for
spoiler
anyone who
alert.
cares about this questionable movie at
Yes.
best.
So there's this scene where Superman's mother, Martha, gets captured.
Does she have a vineyard?
That's undisclosed. She has a farm, at least.
NDA on the vineyard.
She has an NDA on the vineyard. Lots of future projects. And Batman, and he's like, "Wait, Batman, you can't kill me. I have to save my mom, Martha." And he goes, "My mom's name was Martha," and they just bond over that. And they agreed to stop killing each other and be best friends. I thought that was really weak.
That's so cute, though.
Oh.
So I was just gonna say, like, if someone else's mom was named Martha, like if you met the Vineyard Martha, would you feel a special bond with him?
No, I would feel a sense of competition with him and beat the shit out of him.
Because they both love their mothers. Like, oh, now I'm thinking about my mom. Violence is not the answer.
I really like to picture it in my mind, and my headcanon for this interaction in the scripting room is that the writers are sitting here, they're scratching their heads, they're thinking, okay, I know the movie is called Batman versus Superman, but we need them to reconcile somehow, and I'm having trouble writing in the scene in which our two heroes come together as one, and then just, Bob the writer over in the corner hasn't made much contributions yet to the script. He just light bulb pops on in his head. He realizes that both characters have a mother named Martha, and he just the gears start turning, and he just explains this scene to the other writers, and they're thrilled, and it makes me very sad for Bob that the end result is so disappointing, but nonetheless, this is how I picture it going down.
I can see that, like a bunch of weary writers, like drained of all ideas,
Yeah.
like sitting around a table, like eating pizza, like. We need one thing for this movie. And Bob's like, what if their moms are both named Martha? And they're like, oh, that works,
That's
thank
it,
God.
yeah. Genius.
What was even the premise of that movie? Why do they have to fight? They're both like the canon, very good guys. Like Superman is the poster boy of being a goody two shoes, and then Batman is just slightly less good. Why do they have to fight at all?
Lex Luthor tricked them somehow, and also Batman kills people in this movie, which is like his number one rule everywhere else.
Ah, of course. So
Oh.
let's break a fundamental rule in order for cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
As it worked out.
DC is a big fan of the my movies are not movies. My movies are real life. And just
Ooh.
truly throwing all the rules of the comics out of the window and just saying, okay, screw it, Batman kills people because that will make the movie better.
I thought Aquaman was good. I was expecting it to be so bad, and I saw it. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. They did take some liberties, but it was really, really good.
I think that Aquaman has the natural advantage of getting to have a bunch of cool sci-fi sea creatures. I'm a big
Yeah.
ocean man myself.
Ooh,
Very
ocean
much
man.
enjoy the fish, the invertebrate, the whole 9 yards.
Ocean Man sounds like Aquaman's like half brother or something that nobody talks about.
His sidekick.
Oh, his brother was named like Ocean Warrior or something.
Oh,
He was
shoot.
like,
There you go.
it was like there were 7 seas, of course, that makes sense in the real world, and then it was like whoever was the master of all 7 was become like Ocean, not man, but like Ocean Dynasty or something.
I am become ocean god, controller of ocean.
And his brother really wanted to be that. That was the whole plot of the movie, that his brother was
Okay.
being bad. But then, now that you mention it, at the end of the movie, they had that like chilled in bonding moment between him and his brother. And even though his brother had been literally on a tyrannical killing rampage and Aquaman had done everything he could to be a good guy, they're like, we can bond over being brothers despite me committing literal war crimes. Okay, Ocean Master.
See, this sounds very similar to the Martha debacle. Very much a case of the DC writers saying, I really don't want to reach a complex and well-developed reconciliation of these characters, so I will just throw some trivial information to just solve it for me.
And then my favorite character in the movie was this guy named Black Manta. At the beginning of the movie, they showed how like Aquaman killed his dad in like, well, they were like pirates, but they were like it was murky as to whether or not they were actually bad. They were like raiding like corrupt government peons, pretty much. Aquaman stops him, traps the dude's dad like underneath a pipe in a submarine that's drowning, and he's like, "Sorry, kid, your dad is dead," pretty much. And he's like, "He's a bad guy. I gotta get him." And then he just runs off, and the guy, he like makes a deal with the Atlantis people, and they're like, they just give him like this robot suit, and now he can like fly and glide and stuff. But then after this huge awesome fight with Aquaman, he just throws him in the ocean. They don't see him again. And he's like one of the recurring comic book villains. So I assume if they had a sequel, he would come back. But it pissed me off that my favorite aspect of the movie was just like literally yeeted into the ocean like a second thought, and probably not going to return in the sequel that probably will not be had.
That's another thing that I consider par for the course in DC movies. You know, very disappointing when you look at Batman Begins that you know, they put all their eggs into the Liam Neeson Ra's al Ghul basket when Scarecrow's just sitting right there. You know, Scarecrow doesn't get to do as much as I would like him to do in Batman Begins, and then shows up for literally maybe a 5-minute scene in Dark Knight Rises. You know, one of my favorite villains, just thrown by the wayside.
Who is everyone's favorite villain?
I like Loki.
Doesn't have to be from this like comic book movie thing, but
I still like Loki.
that's fine. just to let everyone know.
Yeah.
Please explain your love for Loki.
Because he's a trickster, and you never know if he's actually there or not. I don't know. A lot of villains show off like how powerful and big they are, but Loki's just a little small guy who always gets kind of shoved under the bus. Then he, you know, shows off his trickery.
He also has the advantage that he's got that anti-hero charm. You know,
Oh, yeah.
all the
sometimes
time.
he's on,
Mhm.
sometimes he's a good guy, but you know, very shaky good guy,
Yeah.
He's like,
uneasy ally.
he's got that shred of goodness that makes you think you can save him.
Yeah.
I really liked it when Doctor Strange was fucking with him in that one movie. I want to say that was Ragnarok. I can't remember though. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he was just like they like took Doctor Strange like took them and he was just screwing with them, and then he like sent them to this cliff where the evil woman was.
Oh, that was the beginning of Ragnarok.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they had gone to New York for some reason.
Oh yeah, Ragnarok, great movie.
Good.
One of my favorites.
In that same movie, like Loki gets separated from Thor, and then they have this moment where they're like Thor is like a prisoner being forced to fight in a cage fight, and Loki is hanging out with the aristocrats. He's like, "Oh, what's up?
He's up there with Jeff Goldblum.
Sorry, I can't talk right now." And Jeff Goldblum started as himself in that
Yeah.
one. I think you
Yeah.
told me that joke.
Fantastic,
A while ago.
very very good.
really good actor at playing Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Loki is definitely he's got his rap moments in Ragnarok, like when he disguises himself as the king, and they put on the play with Matt Damon actually making the cameo. Very shocking, exciting for all fans of Matt Damon. We Bought a Zoo, fantastic movie.
Any other hot villains in the news today?
Oh yeah, well,
I have a couple. Both of them are kind of hot takes, though. I will say my first one that's less of a hot take is Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, fantastic.
Do it.
I
love
do
Bane.
it. Do the thing.
What?
You're like, I was born in the darkness.
I was born in the darkness. I can't do it over this mic. Probably that sounded abysmal. Probably. But I just like him because he's like, there's like this, like he's like kind of crazy, but he's so selfless. Like at the same time, like he's like at the end of the movie, it reveals he was doing the all this for like Ra's al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul's daughter, and like he's just like truly determined to fulfill what he thinks is right. Like, and he sacrifices everything.
Yeah.
And okay, so my second one, very hot take.
Hot take alert.
Hot take alert. We are at a red hot take warning. This is major spoilers for the Halo franchise because heard here. I kind of like Cortana as a villain. I like.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Same.
Warning: if you have not played Halo 4 onwards.
Warning if you've
Things
not
were just
played.
spoiled for you.
I said spoilers for Halo. I said
Yeah.
major spoilers for all
So
of
when
Halo.
does Cortana become a villain?
The end of Halo 5.
Oh, okay. So this.
Well,
will,
no,
this,
well, like all of Halo 5.
Okay.
Okay.
So will this be a major plot point in upcoming title, Halo Infinite?
This will be like the plot point.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Yes. Well.
Because I think she's right. I side with her almost.
Oh, okay.
Because
this is very.
she has
interesting.
like these guardians that are like if you they can like destroy all weaponry, and like if you try to hurt people, they just kill you. Like I think that humanity would benefit from just like an AI telling everyone what to do, because I think that selfishness is a lot of the problems with and corruption is a lot of problems with many of the governments in the world historically. So I think like this unfeeling almost AI ruling everything would be a pretty good leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did people see it coming?
I thought you said you didn't, or like when you originally played it, did you not?
I'm trying to remember. I guess like in Halo 5 it becomes more and more evident that she's like crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like at the end of Halo 4 you think she dies, so like going into it I had no idea.
When you explained it to me when Turner gave me his extended explanation of the Halo lore, I did not see it coming, and I did not play the games, so it was a pretty good trick in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like it's really complicated, the Halo lore, so much so that I won't try to explain it very much. But all you need to know is that Cortana, who is the AI companion to the hero Master Chief, gets into like this ancient database from this ancient civilization, and she discovers the truth that humanity is bad and needs to be ruled by the AIs.
Now is this in the canon of Halo, is Cortana's turned evil before or after she actually signs on as a contracted personal assistant for Microsoft products such as computers and cell phones?
Oh no.
I think
That may have been the reason she turned.
Yeah.
In fact.
I think being made into a corporate lackey corrupted her mind.
Okay.
Any villains for you, sir?
Another hot take alert. One of my favorite villains of all time, and this is like a hard one to even open up for me, is I think the bad guy from Despicable Me 1, Vector, is a badass.
Oh my god.
And here's why. Gru is very redeemable in that movie, but for one, if you know what I look like, Vector looks just like me, for one thing. But before my transformation, when he's got a bowl cut and glasses and he's wearing the jumpsuit and he's like,
Sid the Sloth.
oh yeah.
One time in high school, I got mildly irritated at Drew, so I said, "Here, let me take a picture of you." And I like fake taking a picture, and when I turned the phone around to show him, it was just a picture of Vector.
He's like, he unlike Gru, he's actually okay. He's good at his job for one. He stole a pyramid. Young Drew was like,
Very impressive.
holy crap! He just stole one of the 7 wonders of the world. He now owns 1/7 of the wonder in the world, and then. But he's also like he's in touch with himself. Like he's bad. He's got a shark in his living room. But he's like, oh, Girl Scout cookies. You know, I can bend the rules on evil a little bit for Girl Scout cookies. And that's an extremely redeemable trait for me.
Is he the one who also steals the moon?
Yeah, briefly. There's some moon passing in the movie.
It gets shuffled around, I think,
Yeah,
a couple times.
And the real evil of all, it's like they make him seem like a bad guy for this in the movie, but thinking about it now, I really appreciate how the owner of the Bank of Evil was Vector's like dad or grandpa. Corporate embezzling, like Gru cannot be mad about that. That's like evil squared. Like he just took evil to a new level by corrupting the Bank of Evil.
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to the writing on that one because they made him see it was like, oh, he cheated, and it's like, this is like villains competing. You're supposed to cheat. Like every cheat is like a great move right here.
Like a point or two.
Very Oscar-worthy writing on the part of Illumination there.
Well, I mean, they forgot about the people for some reason. What I really liked about it, now there's little banana men running around everywhere, but the whole franchise has spawned this whole thing
Minion time.
Yeah,
very
where
funny.
Boomers rejoice at Minion time.
Boomers rejoice. For now, I can post a photo of a minion on Facebook with caption, "Rah rah, Zoomers." And, you know, it'll express my torment. You know, it definitely opens up the conversations, you know, with Becky and Karen in the comments, you know.
Like, what do you think is so appealing about Minions to boomers?
Yes, seriously.
So, I can't speak to boomers specifically, but my father, a Gen Xer, is big fan of the Minions. And he actually does not even use Facebook, but, you know, I feel like it's just something psychological really resonates with, you know, the middle-aged and up crowd about the Minion. And I think that my psychological take on this, you know, not a psychology major like resident psychology expert Turner, but I feel as if the presence of social media and basically the fact that our generation has everything shrouded in multiple layers of irony has really influenced the fact that we hate the Minions so much. I think without social media and without the terrible boomer Minion memes, I don't think anyone would care enough to hate Minions. I feel like you'd either like them or not care. But, you know, the oversaturation in the boomer Facebook has kind of caused this hatred.
I agree with you. Like, I think the Minions are like the definition of like slapstick comedy. Like, it's easily understandable. Like, oh look, that funny thing made a funny noise.
Yeah, the funny yellow man said he liked bananas, and then, you know, got shot with one of Gru's evil inventions by other funny banana man.
When a while ago, Ellen, known sister of mine, known arch rival.
Yes. Rival, uneasy ally at times.
Yeah, she was dating this guy, and I know, crazy world that we're entering, where Ellen was dating some guy.
Go ahead.
And she, like, he was like a refugee from like the Democratic Republic of the Congo or something. He had an interesting backstory, and he met Ellen at this like church camp. But one day, Ellen, like, it wasn't for like her birthday or anything. It might have been like for some. It was just like what I connotated a special gift between them, and he got her like Minions like bedding, and like I saw it one day when I came home, and Ellen wasn't there, and I was to my mom, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, Ellen's boyfriend got that for her. I don't really know why, but I don't know what Ellen thinks about it, but...
Like bed sheets?
Yeah, like a comforter and pillow sheets, everything.
Very intimate, very sensual gift, you know, the Minion sheets.
That's just a weird gift, even if it weren't Minions.
Well, I wondered if it was some inside joke between them, but it couldn't have possibly been. It was... I mean, I'm assuming a lot there, but it's Minions! Come on, Ellen! But no hate on Ellen.
Digression.
Yeah, but It was. My mom like had this theory about it where it was like it's also like people not from America are fond of Minions, but I don't know anything about that or require further research. But that's something that she had heard. I don't know if there's any logic to that.
You know, and perhaps could be a similar situation, much like how Winnie the Pooh is banned in China due to his likeness to their leader. Maybe some foreign governments have people of power who just resonate a little too much with the Minion, and as such have a deep hatred.
Maybe they're just relatable.
In the way that they just make noises and partake in slapstick comedy. How relatable to the old people. And now I am legally required to tell you that we have a message from Sean, our benefactor. So we're going to cut to Sean for a brief moment. See you here in a second.
Hey, Sean here, and I'm legally required to say something. So, let's talk about my favorite season. It's coming up real soon, in 6 or 7 months. It's summer. Why is summer the best season? Because it's warm. That's one big reason, probably the biggest reason. And it's not cold. That's the second biggest reason. You also got the sun. It's not setting at 5:30. Instead, it's setting at like 9 o'clock. So you can like run around outside. You can see things. It's awesome. Other than that, there's a lot of bugs. And there's not really a whole lot of bugs in winter. So that reminds me, if you see any bugs, let me know. And back to the big men on campus.
And welcome back. Oh, get out of here. Sorry, we were incurred by a group of prospectors sensing weakness in Drew after he had the black lung. They were after his gold, so hopefully we can get them out of here so we can do our podcast. Anyways, I believe we actually cut off our dear friend Pokemon Persona 5 on the villain discussion, so we can just jump back in there.
Okay, so yeah, I have 2 picks for my favorite villains. Number 1 is a little bit more of a mainstream pick. Might be a little bit of a hot take to some.
Hot take alert.
Hot take alert. I'm a big fan of Kylo Ren from the Star Wars series. I find his
Tell us why.
I find his frequent boyish antics to be very endearing. You know, very very cool how he acts much like a teenage boy in many ways. You know, him and Rey have quite the uncomfortable relationship. You know, I very much enjoyed in The Last Jedi. You know, many fans' favorite movie. Very critically acclaimed, well received by almost all of the Star Wars fandom, as we know. Very much enjoyed the team up of Rey and Kylo against Snoke. You know, spoiler alert. Guess I could have said that before, but you know.
I mean, it's been out for
several
years now.
It's been out for 2 years.
Batman vs Superman's been out for longer.
And is probably less desirable of a film, but yeah, I think he's cool. He's got a really cool red lightsaber. You know, with the little the side blades. Very much a fan of that. You know, the aesthetic. Yeah, and I like that he basically he's doing it all for Darth Vader. You know, much like a K-pop stan account. He's just devoting himself and his efforts to make Vader proud, and you know, very very impressive dedication there.
Did we see that movie together, Turner? Were you in the group that I went with?
No, I saw that with my mom and dad.
When I went to see that movie, it was a group of 8 people, and it had Sean was in the group, and it was 8 people, and I was the only one who liked the movie. Everyone had something horrible to say about the movie except for me, and I believe there was one other person who was neutral on the movie, and I think thought it was better more than it was bad. But I was like, oh, Star Wars, awesome. Star Wars is great every time. It's Star Wars.
Right. This is what I feel about the Star Wars movies. You know, it's kind of like pizza. It's like, you know, you get a really good pizza. This is fantastic. You know, awesome. You know, that's the Empire Strikes Back. That's the Return of the Jedi. You know, the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi pizza, that's like, you know, the like mellow mushroom $30, fantastic pizza. But then even when you get the bad stuff, you know, your Phantom Menace or your Last Jedi, it's kind of like, you know, it's your DiGiorno pizza. It may not be the best pizza out there, but it's still good. It's still pizza. That's how I feel. Many people would disagree. Much like you going to see the movie, I saw it with my roommate, actually, his girlfriend and his cousin, and they all hated it. My roommate, Alec, actually swore off the Star Wars franchise following this movie.
He's so brave.
This is very brave act, but he did not see Solo and refuses to see upcoming Rise of Skywalker. So, yeah, you know, very polarizing film. I thought it was pretty good, you know, not complaining. I don't think it was as bad as The Phantom Menace, but, you know, could be wrong in some ways. But, yeah, Kylo Ren, good guy, I think.
Good guy. Are you kidding me?
I think he's pretty cool, you know.
I
A little bit misguided. You know, I think it's going to come around. My prediction, Rise of Skywalker, we're going to see some turning from him. You know, I think he's going to end up on the right side of history, but, you know, I could be wrong.
The one thing that I saw, like, or my one gripe actually with the movie, and it wasn't like it didn't make it bad for me. It was just something I wanted. And I hope in the last and final movie, like, Finn gets his chance to be awesome, like where he goes ham, like how he was almost a Jedi in the first new movie. I was losing my shit in the theater when I saw that, when he picked up Rey's lightsaber for her, and he was like, "I will be the hero."
Yeah,
and
very true. He hasn't had his chance.
He was like in a coma, and then he was like, "I will be the good guy who gets the casino," and then he like almost died because of that. So not a great outing for him in the second one.
You know, I think Disney really thought, I think they were really proud of themselves, thinking that they did the bait and switch with Finn holding the lightsaber and all the promotional material, whereas Rey just has her little, like, you know, desert hobo staff, like in the posters. They really thought they fooled us into thinking that Finn was the new Jedi.
I was hoping he'd be the Jedi.
Oh, yes, but, you know.
I think I kind of like the way the Kylo Ren's descent into evil is framed. I think is a lot more relatable than Anakin Skywalker's was. I just think Luke was just a terrible teacher in a lot of ways, and then he was like, "Oh, this kid's evil. Time to die."
That was frustrating. Not that it was bad, but it was like, "What the fuck are you thinking, Luke?" He's like, "I sense bad behavior."
You know, this is classic old Jedi behavior. Very akin to the Phantom Menace, when Yoda's just like, I think that the Skywalker kid is kind of a fraidy cat a little bit. I sense a lot of fear in him. We're not going to train him to be a Jedi. But then Qui-Gon just says, "Screw it, I'll do it by myself." And, you know, I mean, arguably Yoda was right, you know. Anakin did massacre the youngling population of the Jedi Temple, you know.
A little bit.
Kind of a war crime, maybe a little bit of a stain on his record, but, you know, in the end, he does take out the Emperor in The Return of the Jedi. Spoiler alert, you know, if you haven't seen that movie, a very recent release. I don't want to ruin anyone's day.
2018.
Yeah, probably.
Was it actually?
It was late 2017, I believe. Oh. Resident Star Wars lover Drew doesn't know when The Return of the Jedi came out. Classic funny man stuff coming on. Kylo Ren, that's my first pick. My second pick, for all my artistic folk out there, you know, Victor Hugo fans know where I'm coming from when I talk about Javert from Les Mis. I don't know, you know, I know Mary has seen Les Mis.
Never seen
I don't know if you've seen it, Turner.
I've heard of France.
Turner has heard of France. Javert, basically, he's the cop, basically, you know. He's the law enforcement in France.
Good guy, bad guy?
You know, 19th century. No, I wouldn't call him a good guy at any sense of the word.
Wasn't the main character a thief? Like, I know that much about it.
Okay, yeah, Jean Valjean, main character, he's a thief. He steals a loaf of bread, gets sentenced to
the guillotine.
19 years, I believe. 19 years of prison. You know, opening sequence comes through. Javert tells Jean Valjean that for stealing this loaf of bread, he will be on parole the rest of his life. Basically means he can never get hired to any real job. Everyone's gonna think he's dangerous because he stole a loaf of bread. And the entire movie is basically Jean Valjean just trying to live a happy life as the mayor of a city, you know, not hurting anybody, just
he's
being
the
cool.
mayor?
And Javert just, yes, he becomes the mayor when he takes on a new identity. And Javert's just obsessed with bringing him to, quote, justice. And basically Javert's whole thing, it's a very cool contrast, because we have Jean Valjean, who's actually in the beginning of the movie, gets spared his re-imprisonment by a local monk that he tries to steal gold
I have
from.
seen this scene.
And the monk says, okay, like, I'm not going to turn you in, but now, like, your soul...
No, he says it was a gift.
Yeah,
was
he
so
says it was
sweet.
he says it's a gift, and he says, okay, I've saved your soul for the Lord. Like, now you have to follow God now because I've saved you. And so Jean Valjean, his whole thing is, he's trying to go out here, be a good man of the Lord, not cause anyone harm. Whereas Javert also proclaims to be a good man of the Lord, and as such must bring all criminals to justice. So it's just this cool contrast, basically, of Jean Valjean, who's basically living out this life of mercy, versus Javert, who's like very rigid, structured, I am a man of the Lord and therefore all criminals must pay. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, if
you haven't seen this one by now.
yeah,
Spoiler
like
alert.
again, at the end of the movie, basically Jean Valjean is given the opportunity to kill Javert and free himself from this life of basically eternal running from the law, but he chooses to save Javert's life instead, and this is just too much for Javert to take. His mind is just in shambles. He just a whirlpool of confusion comes upon him. He says, damned if I live in the debt of a thief, but damned if I let him go free. And so he just jumps off a bridge and he kills himself. And it's an emotional scene, very intense. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Javert, not because I think that he is redeemable or good, but just because of how well he's written and the good contrast he provides in that movie.
But also, he's really bad at singing for being an actor in a musical.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
he knows like 2 notes.
Yeah,
and he just goes back and forth between the
in the more recently in the more recently released film starring
the
Hugh
musical
Jackman,
one,
yes, Russell Crowe does play Javert. Very much a casting based solely off of acting talent versus musical talent. Stars is one of actually my favorite numbers from that musical. Very good. It's Javert's basically monologue about how he's going to bring Jean Valjean to justice. But Russell Crowe cannot do it justice. He kind of hit one of the last notes of that song is a pretty high note for a male voice, and he holds it out for very long, and Russell Crowe kind of just butchers it. They basically have to rewrite the song around the fact that he can't sing. So yeah, questionable casting choice there, but nonetheless, good villain.
I think my goal in life is to have just enough clout that people don't expect me to do a good job with my job, and to, like, just do all the work for me and rewrite everything around me. Like that's the goal. Just be so good at your job that you don't even have to be good at it anymore.
Yeah, I'm so good that my employers are gonna Russell Crowe for me. They're just gonna, whatever I have to do, they're gonna mess with it to where I can do it to the best of my ability, just because of how good I am.
That's the dream.
I think I agree.
That's the dream.
That reminds me of, like, I don't even remember what the character's name was, but it's like shot for shot. There is this, and sore subject here with some people, but there was this anime that I watched this one time, and I'm getting some groans from the studio.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But it is the classic matchup of like mercenary bad guy, but it's like they're the real good guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, we fight the corporate corrupt capital. But the thing that was really cool about this one to me was that there was this character, and Johnny, one of my other roommates, like, we solely referred to this girl as just Justice Bitch. That maybe a little harsh. Apologies there, but because her whole thing was, it was like, and like the establishment was like this team of goons, and they were all like, we are the good guy cops, like we are the Javerts of this world.
Yes.
But she is like crazy, like she is super Javert, and it's just like, I do love that contrast, because she thought she was being like the best person in the world,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we hated her. We loved to root against her. She was the worst. I hated her so much, and in the end, she's like a cyborg dog or something through this series of events, and she, like, all of her limbs get exploded off of her. It was great. I loved it for hating her so much, but she thought she was good the whole time. which is that lovely contrast there.
I
between
think
her and
that-
the main character.
I think that it's a very common thing that whether it be a movie, a book, writers want the villain to have a motivation. Most of the time, I think, you have your characters like the Joker per se that realize that they're evil and they lean into that and they're like, yeah, I'm evil, so what? But I think most writers kind of generally, for most stories, they lean towards the villain thinks that they're good and they're in the right. But I think it's difficult to do that well, and so when that's done very well and it's written very well, I think that's good, because that's exactly what you're talking about in the anime. That's Javert, right? He thinks that he is good. He thinks that Jean Valjean actually deserves to spend his life in prison for stealing a loaf of bread and then breaking parole, and he doesn't know any better. He's crazy, And then because that's a lot more believable than say the Thanos writing of yes, I think that destroying half of life in the universe is a very good thing. It's like, yeah, okay, guy, sure.
My last economics class this Friday, our lecturer thought she was just on a roll and doing this funny little bit where she was talking about how Thanos' plan was not economically viable.
Oh gosh.
It was the worst.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah,
I also
exactly.
watch the Marvel films.
Have you guys ever heard of the Avengers?
Did she say that?
No. It was just and she was like, clicker question, which economist said this quote? And one of the answers was Thanos.
Oh,
it was very clearly Thanos.
This is hilarious. Guest appearance in my economics class by Thanos of Fortnite fame.
You got Thanos from Fortnite? He's my other favorite Fortnite character besides John Wick.
Oh, yes. That's really crazy how they made a movie based on John Wick Fortnite. Just very insane. Recent release. I don't know why they called it
spoiler alert.
John Wick 3. They couldn't have made two movies between when he was released in Fortnite and now,
Well, there's 2 seasons of Fortnite, so that must be the third season of Fortnite.
Yes, of course, yes. Excellent.
The third season of Fortnite is a movie called John Wick 3.
Oh,
I think that's what we determined.
Fantastic. Fortnite 2 actually recently released. I've heard from the interwebs. Very crazy stuff.
I didn't look at it at all because I thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
If anyone else
Was
has any
that the
thoughts.
video with the black hole that went on forever?
Yes, that was what it turned into.
Yeah, it turned into Fortnite 2 actually.
Fortnite 2.
Not a Fortnite player anymore. It had its time. I enjoyed
I like
it,
the vehicles.
but I do respect the middle school, high school children that love that game.
What about
I came home every day after middle school for a while and played Minecraft. I understand. I respect it.
But you don't respect anyone else who plays that game?
I mean, I do. Maybe not if they play it as much as these middle schoolers and high schoolers that sit down for 5 hours a day playing it. It's a good game.
That's like the copy and paste testimony. It's like, Fortnite. Every day I get home from school and I just play that game until bed. I heard that so many times, ever since the game was released. It's a go-to, but I was like that for Minecraft as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Millennials.
Fortnite, much more fun game with friends as well. Definitely,
Much more fun with the planes and the golf
multiplayer,
carts without the
planes
guns.
and golf carts. Speaking of unexpected sequels, I don't know how many of you have heard the news of Overwatch 2.
I saw that today.
Oh,
very bold move
Free
by
Hong Kong.
by known human rights anti-activist Blizzard, coming out with Overwatch 2 hot on the heels of their controversial.
On the heels of, we will do everything within our power to promote the interests and well-being of China. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very true. Provoking some of the most intellectually stimulating discussion on the Twitterverse that I've ever seen. Very stimulating to the mind to see Anime Avi number 42 reply to someone angry about the human rights violations in Hong Kong, and Blizzard's very lukewarm and even anti-Hong Kong stances that they've taken. Someone's angry about that, and Anime Avi replies and says, "Oh well, the human rights violations don't affect my gameplay, so therefore I don't have to care, and it is completely within my rights to support this company." Very, yes, fantastic reasoning and logic.
There was that guy. There's a post going around Reddit. And I think I saw it on Twitter too, where it's like, how do I reactivate my Blizzard account? the outrage is blown over, and I don't really care anymore. So if someone could tell me how to log in, that'd
Yes,
be great.
and I've seen similar posts hot on the heels of the Halloween event because, taking a principled stance against moral injustice kind of falls by the wayside
It's a
whenever you're
seasonal
about to
issue.
get
Exactly.
whenever you can get like a cool witch costume for your favorite Overwatch character, it's kind of less important to care about the well-being of real humans.
Yeah, the costumes have really sold people on this for sure. I don't know what's so special about a witch costume that entices you to disregard like rampant abuses of power and war crimes. But
Dude, it's sexy mercy.
you know when you
As
say
an ex-Overwatch player myself, cute girls, cool costumes.
Sexy.
I will now ignore war crimes and human rights issues.
part of me disagrees with you, but it's the part of me that's a soulless corporate lackey really loves what you're saying here. And I also want to thank Studio X again for sponsoring this episode.
Studio X is a great place to have a meeting, conduct business, and really just do anything.
They will collate all of your research, and they have great projectors for any financial presentations you may like to give.
So thank you, Studio X. So speaking of injustice, now, not that Studio X did anything, but just talking about the...
Studio X has never done anything
They've
wrong.
never committed injustices over at Studio X. When I was young, and we touched on this last episode of how I was obsessed with injustice. And I bring today from the Drew Crypt my own tale of injustice levied upon me, and how I thought myself Jean Valjean being infringed upon by Javert. And when I was in first grade, I don't know if anybody else ever had these. They were like these very good Pokemon figurines that this girl would bring, and I got to play with. They were awesome. I got a Zapdos, and you didn't go to first grade with us, pal.
They sound like vaguely familiar. Like this is like a ghost from the past that I'm like half
Oh,
remembering.
like the little bears in the bucket kind of thing. That's,
I'm just thinking of like McDonald's toys, but better quality than
these
that?
are much better quality toys than the McDonald's ones. These are like not clay, but they're like very well made plastic figurines that have like a tiny bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
And I had a Zapdos one, awesome. I had a Hitmonchan, and I had a Kabuto. And I loved the Kabuto one, and that's where the story takes a dark turn.
So we're talking Kabuto, like small horseshoe crab boy, not like Kabutops.
Yeah, and not like the glasses guy on Naruto either.
Cool.
So
Okay.
just from Pokemon, the little horseshoe crab, and I loved this. And this girl, she's very, very kind. She gave me these three guys. And so I was like her Pokemon buddy, and we watched Pokemon the Entei movie, which we can get into in a second. An awesome movie. But so I had the Kabuto, and I don't know, I was doing some classic Drew misbehaving in this class in first grade, and Kabuto gets taken from me, and I'm about to let all hell break loose.
Oh no.
Kabuto should not have been taken from me under any circumstances. This is my personal Pokemon, and it is to be treated as such. And also, I don't even remember what it was. I just remember being in trouble more than what I actually did, and that leads me to believe, from my protagonist's standpoint, that I actually did nothing wrong in reality. So, and also for some reason, it was like this. We had a substitute teacher that day, and so there's a lack of authority on that part. So I just see her as this heinous criminal taking my toys, like trying to be the cops of the world. And she leaves for some who knows why reason, and I just go up to the desk and take my toy back. And I'm like, awesome, toy restored. And everybody loses their mind. This is first grade, and it's just like I didn't realize it. I was just like, that's my toy. I'll be having it back now. But I just like gone against the status quo for the world. Like everybody's like, ah!
Very much like the young child's inability to perform risk assessment coming out there. Like, oh, the substitute teacher is currently gone, so if I come and get my toy, there will be no repercussion whatsoever.
There will be none in this case. But it, like on the other hand of that, it was like I do specifically remember like at least one person like losing their mind that I had like attempted this, like the extreme risk assessment. It's like you have gone against like justice itself by taking back your toy. This is horrible. And she comes back and she like is either told or notices it's gone, and I'm just like, that's nothing going on here. And
Deception.
there's a deception attempt, but eventually she just comes and takes it back. and I'm furious. I'm having a Drew vibrating moment where I'm so mad. And the issue that I still have to this day, and why I hold a personal grudge, is that I never got that toy back. And I mean, it makes sense given the crime, the crime with finger quotes that you can't see, but like that I like took it after having it taken, but I never got it back, and I still have. That was when I was 6. I'm 21 now, and I still have the Zapdos and the Hitmonchan in my room at home. I do not have the Kabuto. What I do have is a lifelong grudge held against a substitute teacher who totally overstepped her grounds, taking away my Kabuto.
No.
It was a heinous crime, in my opinion.
That's happened to me before with, it didn't really touch me as much as it touched you, I don't think. But the toy was crazy. Do you guys know those little, like, snake slinkies where you're, like,
you
holding
can make
a
them do
string in
stuff?
one hand and then they, like, go through your fingers on
Oh,
the other
they used to
one?
have like the little screens that showed you how to do it in the
Yeah.
store.
Yes.
They were seen on TVs.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's on TV
yes,
type
yes.
stuff. Like the little TV screen
Yeah.
shows you how to play with it.
I
Yeah.
was trying to play with mine in church whenever my little kindergarten
Uh-oh.
choir was
This is not a
about to
land
go
of
up.
fun.
No. We were going to go up and perform in front of the entire congregation, and I had my little snake slinky weird toy, and it got confiscated. I did not have a happy time
Oh,
singing
no.
in front of everybody after that.
Oh no. There was no fake smiling from Mary during that
No.
performance.
Mm-mm.
It was all too real.
Yeah.
Kind of, I have a similar story along these lines. It's actually rather than a superior taking something of mine, it was actually a classmate. This is probably 4th or 5th grade. I can't remember. Back in those days, late elementary school, I decided that I would master the Rubik's Cube. I was a big fan of such things as puzzles, and I decided I would buy myself a Rubik's Cube. I would learn to solve it, and I would be the master. I did learn to solve it, and I brought it to school because everyone would think that I was really cool if I was able to solve this Rubik's Cube
badass
for them. They'd be like, "Oh, this kid is a genius. Like I should be friends with him." So there's this one guy in particular. I don't even remember who it is at this point, but he says, "Oh, can I borrow this? I want to borrow this Rubik's Cube." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever." And so he takes it home that day. And like the next day, I'm like, "Hey, can I have my Rubik's Cube back?" And he's like, "Oh, I left it at home." And so this repeats several days after. Finally, I give up. I'm like, "Okay, my Rubik's Cube is gone. I'm just gonna have to buy a new one." Like it's like $10. That's probably like the equivalent of like a year's salary to a 5th grade child like myself. This is upsetting, but I'll move on. I'll get over it. And then so like I'd come to terms. I had gone through the stages of grief. I was at acceptance. I was ready to let this Rubik's Cube go out of my life. And then this rat, he has the audacity to come back to school a month later and give me my Rubik's Cube. Except there was like 2 squares where the sticker was missing. One of the actual like physical plastic pieces of one of the center squares was just missing. It was just gone. He said it was lost. He's like, "Oh, you can remember that that's the white side because all the other ones have colors. So this one that's just like a little black nub. Like just remember that it's the white side." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, guy." And it's just in absolute disarray, just terrible shape. And so actually, there is actually a piece of the superior taking the toy to the story. I forgot until I started telling it, but that same day that he gave it back, I got in trouble for trying to solve my Rubik's Cube during class. I was probably supposed to be doing math or English assignments, and my teacher comes and takes it from me. And I just never made the effort to get him to give it back to me because I was like, this Rubik's Cube is dead to me. I accepted. I accepted its demise. It came back. It was damaged. I hate this thing now. I'm not even going to try to get it back. So to this day, Mr. Lesky might still have my damaged Rubik's Cube sitting
Really
in his desk.
shitty Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
I have to say that's surprisingly mature of you as a 4th or 5th grader to go through the stages of grief and dealing with this problem. I have to respect that.
Yeah, we got the denial. I'm like, "No, you did not forget my Rubik's Cube at home. It's in your backpack right now. Give it to me."
Oh.
I guess since everyone's kind of told a story like this, I also had a story. I was in like a church daycare thing. Like my parents went to the big boy sermon or whatever, and like I was in the like kids area or whatever. I don't even remember what it was called, but I had my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You know, I was teaching people how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but not doing a great job, so I'd win.
Yeah.
You know, I was a mastermind.
Tycoon behavior right there. That's tycoon shit all the way through.
And then one of these, you know, snitches, like goody two-shoe kids.
Did they tell that you were like, he's not teaching us well?
No.
It's a Ponzi.
This is like when I was like 6 or like 5 or 6, and they go up and say, "Yeah, Turner's got Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's crazy." They just mentioned that, and she's like, "Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh cards." The teacher, and so she walks over and she's like, "Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, are these scary in any way?" And I was like,
"Oh no!"
And I was like,
and you whip out Jerry Beans, man. You're like,
"No, that's what I did. That's what I did. In my infinite wisdom, I whipped out my it's like this little brown hairball looking thing. What's that? Do you know what it's called? You know what I'm talking about."
Maybe there are a lot of little brown hairballs.
It's like this little cute little thing, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Can I see the rest of it?" And I was like,
"Oh,
"Sure."
No.
Without thinking.
You whip out Beaver Warrior.
So the next one is this tank that's like covered in blood and has a demon face on it, and is like called like the SS Demolisher demon tank. And she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna take these for the rest of the day." And I was like, "This is the worst." I just felt like I had been disrespected in front of my peers. And then like she was like, we went on this like little field trip or something like later, and she was like, "Oh, did I remember to give those Yu-Gi-Oh cards back to you?" And it's like, the wound was fresh again. It was like, she stole my cards, and now she's bragging about it.
Yeah, she's gloating.
She was gloating.
One time when I was definitely in elementary school because we still went to the playground, but my Pokemon cards got taken. You just reminded me of this story. I haven't thought about this in ages. I thought I was the sneakiest little guy in the entire universe, but I had my complete collection was like maybe like 60, 70, 80 cards. And I had anything that was worth anything was on the top. If it was shiny, if it was like Goomba EX or something. Like anybody who's got special text or font or anything on it, they're all on the top of the pile. And for whatever reason, it's just like, it's not even like I'm doing anything with the Pokemon cards, but it's like, generic punishment time. Fork over your valuables. Like when the teacher isn't good enough at like coming up with a punishment that fits the crime, so it literally becomes like highwaymen behavior, where it's like you have committed a crime in my kingdom. Valuables now. And I just handed her the bottom half of the deck, which was like Pidgey, Rattata, like the garbage pile. And then like I go on the playground, I'm walking around like an actual bandit with my hands in my pockets. I'm like, man, look at this, light a Zoom arrow. I remember showing somebody that, and I was like, I didn't give him the good cards. Are you kidding me? I really played the system.
Truly outsmarting the superior in this case.
Oh man.
One could say that they activated your trap card.
Oh, I just
Bringing things back to Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's like the origin story for some like high crime boss. It's like I knew I wasn't just your average thief, for I would never give them the good cards.
Oh, I thought the teacher was the high crime boss. Like,
no, you were, because you had learned deception. You had learned the ways of the con man, the charlatan.
I think that was right around the time when like the concept of a white lie for the sake of helping somebody else had like dawned on me, like that philosophical concept, and I was like, well, this is a good lie because they were wrong and I was right.
Yeah, instead of the white lie to help someone else, it's the white lie to help yourself.
Exactly. Did you ever commit any misdoings in my mom's class?
In your mom's class?
So, just as some background, really fun. My mom taught Turner when he was little. Really fun.
It was like this little like special class. It was called like search class, and you'd get to go there for like an hour or something each day. I can't think of like anything wrong I ever did in that class specifically. I'm sure
You're just a little angel, I guess.
Yeah, always. I'm sure my buddy Andy was in that class. I'm sure I like threw something at him.
Oh, he was crazy.
Oh, he was crazy.
Crazy Andy.
Yeah. One time we had this little system in my second grade class where you had bear points and you could exchange them to buy valuable goods.
Bear points.
Ooh, what kind of goods?
Like Pokemon tins, like whole tins.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I want to be in Drew's mom's class.
Give me some
No, this is not Drew's mom's class. This is a
okay.
different. Like she bought these things.
Whoa.
I'm looking at the audio right now. That's Spike trying to mention Pokemon tins. But yeah, and Andy and I were like we were going over a TCAP review, and like he kept mentioning funny. It's like number 4C is blah blah blah, and like it was just like some funny nerd like TCAP prep joke, and I was like, And I laughed so loudly, she fined me 10 bear points. And fined
What? What's the conversion rate?
like a Pokemon 10 was like 1,000. It was a very minor fine.
Oh.
Okay.
Like 10 bear points you might get for like getting a D on your homework.
Yeah, it's
like
like
a participation.
Whoa.
It's like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, but I like punishments like that, like public things, like being told you were bad in front of everyone, used to really get to me as a kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then I found out it was like the Bear Festival day or something, like when you could actually buy things.
No.
So my mom came in and she was like, "Oh, Turner, I saw that you lost 10 bear points. What was going on over there?" I was like, "Andy betrayed me." He told a funny joke, and I was forced to laugh. I had no other outlet. And then like there was a tornado drill that day, and I was like, I said, "Yeah, things were crazy. I was just out of my mind because the tornado, you know. I was laughing and stuff."
No, Turner was thinking about throwing Andy to the tornado.
Yeah, 10 bear points. It was a capital punishment.
This
in my mind.
blood is on your hands, Andy.
I only remember those systems for being bad, where it was like you had like you had, I don't know, generic creature. I remember there was a bear, and sometimes you had like the stop sign where it was like, but your thing got
Yeah.
moved, and it was if you were being
Green,
bad.
yellow,
yeah.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah, my teachers always used the card system where you had your stacked
Mhm.
cards, and every time you did something wrong, they'd be like, "Oh, go pull a card."
Ours were called strips.
Yeah.
But
Strips?
yeah, the same concept.
Okay.
There was one day I remember, and you might have. I think you were at the school at this point in
When?
4th grade.
Oh, Miss Gary?
I was in Miss Sloan's class, so
Same thing.
okay. Well,
Not really.
we were in different classes in 4th grade. The big men were divided for that pivotal year in their lives, and I remember some series of events had led me to be on the worst card already. It was very early in the day, and I remember like I continued to be misbehaved because for some reason I had like worked my way off the hook where I was definitely on
yeah.
red card, but I had like I don't know, I had like pivoted out of it somehow, but my red card was on display, and I was like, I wasn't like publicly shamed, but I was like I was aware that I was on the hot seat. And then this one douchebag in there, nothing ever bad happened, but somebody, we're doing like group work.
What was
or
their first
something.
name?
It was Dylan. It was Dylan. He was in his 4th grade. It doesn't matter. It was
Okay.
Dylan R.
Okay.
But and he's reminding me constantly while we're in group work. He's like, "Dude, you can't be doing stuff like that. You're already on red card. I might tell the teacher. Like,
No.
I might tell her. Like,
Oh.
all right, bitch. Like, like you're like, how are you gonna be like that? We need to stand united. Like I'm not doing anything. It was empty threats. Like I wasn't being bad. He was just like, I might have to tell the teacher if you keep behaving like that.
Might mess around and tell.
It was horrible.
Man.
What was the worst thing you ever did in school? The worst punishment that you received?
Worst punishment or worst thing I did?
Well, I guess the worst thing you did that you got caught for it were
Okay.
disciplined.
Oh, I have one of these.
Oh, Dark Mary time?
Yeah, I would go through phases when I would just do a bunch of bad stuff and get all my strips pulled. But one of them, we were in music class and my best friend was sitting in the row in front of me and we stood up to sing, and then as we were sitting down, I thought it'd be great if I pulled her chair out from under her so that she would fall on her butt when she sat down. And lo and behold, she did. But I was used to also like pivoting out of these situations and like weaseling my way out of it. So that's what I attempted to do. Like, oh, she just sat on the edge of her seat and fell. It wasn't my fault. But there were too many witnesses,
Oh,
and so
no.
I got in a lot of trouble.
That's that's like attempted assault
Yeah.
in a public school setting.
Yeah.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Mhm.
Some
Probably
circles.
the worst thing I ever did was my good friend George. Roomed with him actually a few years back here at UT. Once he was in the band in middle school, and he sold a lot of something, whatever the band was selling, be it popcorn or carpet, whatever they're selling these days. He got a reward. He got one of the cool bendy straws that are glasses, like you can put it on your face and then drink through it. I don't know if you've seen those,
Yeah.
And he got one of those, and he had it in the lunchroom. He was very proud, and I was like, oh, I want to try this. So I snuck them out of his pocket and started drinking my chocolate milk with him. And he freaks out, and he tells the teacher or something, and I get sent to ISS for this for theft. grand larceny, and I have to go to ISS. Only time I ever had to do that in middle school, and I was pretty enraged at this, Yeah, but that's probably the worst thing I did.
I guess the worst thing I did is, how they used to have those reading festivals, where like if you read a certain number of books, you got to go to this big party. Ours was like pretty big. They had like blow ups. They had like cotton candy. They had all the things a third grader, which I was at the time, would greatly enjoy. And so I was like, I got mine like halfway through the year. I was feeling like a big man. Not on campus yet, but I was feeling like a big man, and like I was one of the better readers, I will say, in third grade. Not to brag, but
okay.
But anyways, back to the point. So I thought this was like a big deal, but then I realized only one person in the entire class didn't get it. So I was like, oh, okay, this kind of sucks. But I still like needed that kind of like ego boost,
Oh no.
So that kid who didn't get it was like being mean to me about something. So I was like, well, at least I can read. I said that to him, and I got in like a minor amount of trouble because like I was like, well, he was being mean to me. I finagled my way into only like pulling the yellow card,
Yeah,
but that was probably the worst morally thing I've done.
That's like you were on the other side of like the villain origin story. Like how Drew learned that he was a good swindler. Like you turned this kid into a villain by pointing out that he can't read.
I did a lot of misbehaving, of course, when I was growing up. Tons of it, and this one's just another anecdote. Probably not the worst thing I've done. I'd really have to think and talk to my parents if I wanted to know that one. But there was one time in 4th grade where I was somehow really, really stressed out. I don't know, as a 4th grader, like probably should have just chilled out. And I just screamed at the teacher, "You suck!" one time.
Oh my god.
I might have told you this one before.
I think you have.
But I don't think I've ever told you guys, the story before. But it was like she just signed something, and I was like, oh, really? You're going to sign us something right now? And then another assignment, which is a project, comes up. And I was like, you're going to sign us something again? And then we get through that. And then something else pops up. And I was like, you suck! I just yelled that.
Oh, no.
And I was like, well, I knew that I was like signing my death warrant, pretty much doing that. And she's like just dragging me down the hallway, and I'm just sitting there like not like expressionless, like I'm not resisting at all. It's like, yeah, this is gonna happen, pretty much. And then I get there, and then it's just like, oh, you get detention. I'm like, really? Like I just like I feel like from a teaching perspective, like I just committed the core crime. Like I insulted your authority on like a public scale, and then I was not really punished for it. I'm gonna be back in there like without like any like red card type thing levied upon me. Like I just have to come in early one of these days here in the moment. Nobody's like really gonna see that. So it's like I was just mostly freely allowed to assault your authority, pretty much, and I got away with it. So that's my tale, and I believe that's most of the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us today, Pierce and Mary.
Thank you for having us.
Great friends of the show.
Care to bring us home, Big Man Turner?
Well, I think what we learned today is that when you have the black lung, you need to hide it, or the prospector. Whoa. I thought that was dynamite from a local prospector, but it was just Drew's black lung coming back. So hopefully we'll be back next week, because we are a weekly, purely anecdotal podcast.
That's all we got for you today. See you next time.